Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Stephanie, and I'm the Education and Events Coordinator with SUMA. I'm also the Program Administrator for the Saskatchewan Municipal Awards, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, Celebrating Excellence, the Saskatchewan Municipal Awards. Today, we'll be hearing from 2021 award recipients about their projects and experiences being nominated for a municipal award. We'll also talk about what projects are eligible and how to nominate your municipally led project, as well as what award winners receive. I'll provide a brief overview of the program, and I'm joined today by Rayanne Bromley to share the Riverhurst Wetland Project, the 2021 first place winner, Charlene Egger from the Town and RM of Willowbunch to discuss their project, the Jean-Louis Laguerre Regional Park Expansion, the 2021 third place winning project, and Sean Wallace, who will talk about the winning project for the Regional Collaboration Award by South Saskatchewan Ready. Thank you to each of you for attending today. Please be sure to keep an eye on the municipal update and member emails for future webinar opportunities. Our next webinar is on the Transportation and Rescue Extraction Program and will be on Tuesday, November 8th at 10:00 a.m. A link to a recording of today's webinar will be sent out to all registrants in the next few days, and a link to register for the next webinar will be included in that email. All webinar recordings are also permanently available on SUMA's member portal. So as you each know, SUMA uses Zoom. If you're having any difficulties with audio, click the audio settings button in the bottom left corner. And from here, you can change which speakers your audio is being played through or switch to phone audio. Please also use the Q&A feature to ask any questions that you have throughout the presentations today. We try to keep an eye on the chat, but questions submitted there may be missed. In the Q&A pod, you can see other submitted questions. Click the thumbs up icon next to the questions if you would like to see that one at the top of the list. And you'll also be able to submit your question anonymously. In the chat, you can let us know where you're joining us from and share any comments that you have throughout the presentation. Links that are mentioned in the presentation today will also be included in the chat. I'd like to thank SUMASure for sponsoring SUMA's webinar programs. Because of their sponsorship, webinars are free to all SUMA members. The SUMASure Insurance Reciprocal is the provider of choice for property and liability insurance to 241 SUMA members. If you're interested in learning more about how your community can partner with SUMASure, visit sumasure.ca. Now that we have all the housekeeping out of the way, I'd like to start out by sharing a little bit more about the Saskatchewan Municipal Awards Program. The Saskatchewan Municipal Awards Program is managed by and administered by the SUMA, SARM, and Government Relations, and the program is overseen by executives of SUMA, SARM, Government Relations, the Urban Municipal Administrators Association, the Rural Municipal Administrators Association, and New North. The SMAs celebrate excellence and innovative practices in Saskatchewan's municipal governments and aim to share knowledge amongst municipalities. Sorry, one moment here. These awards are presented to the top 3 overall initiatives that demonstrate innovation and betterment for a municipality. And there is a 4th award for regional cooperation that's also given out to urban and rural municipalities working together on a cooperative project. There are several topics or areas that projects could be awarded in. Some of these include engaging youth, housing, immigration, inventions, leadership, partnerships, public health, transportation, and more. Award winners receive a professional video showcasing their nominated project and highlighting their community, an award to commemorate the municipal accomplishment, and recognition at the SARM or SUMA convention. The goal of the SMAs is not only to award municipalities, but is also to share knowledge. So winning projects are listed under the municipal best practices on the Municipal Awards website, and all nominations with enough detail are also listed on the website under Municipal Capacity Development. We do this so that it can serve as a guide for other municipalities looking to undertake similar projects. For a project to be eligible for an award, it must be focused on a municipally led initiative in Saskatchewan and have been initiated in the last 15 years. If a project was initiated longer than 15 years ago, it may still be eligible, but it must be demonstrated that the practice is and continues to be a main priority for council. I'm now going to pass it over to Rayanne Bromley to talk to us about the 2001 first place project, Riverhurst Wetland. If you have any questions for Rayanne during her presentation, please enter them into the Q&A, and we'll make sure that we answer them at the end of her presentation. If you're looking for more information about the Municipal Awards program in general, we will have an opportunity to answer some of those questions at the end of the presentation today. So now, without further ado, I'll pass it over to Rayanne. Thank you, Rayanne.
Thanks, Stephanie. Let me just get set up here. There we go. Are we good? Okay, first of all, I would like to thank SUMA SARM, the Ministry of Government Relations, and the other partners, not only for this award, but for the opportunity to speak with you today. So for those of you who don't know, Riverhurst is a tiny community, about 140 permanent residents with more people coming and staying for the summer. We're just a couple of kilometers away from Diefenbaker Lake at the Riverhurst Ferry. So our project involves a wetland restoration. It's an environmental project. Right at the entrance to the village, there once was a beautiful wetland which had sort of devolved through for a number of reasons, not only because of drought, but because of the way it had been managed. It had devolved into an unattractive sort of weedy cow pasture. So we have a very active Communities in Bloom committee here in the village, and we decided that we wanted to restore that wetland. So why wetlands? Well, because they are such a critical, important ecosystem. They filter and recharge water, they store carbon, they are habitat, they provide habitat for millions of migratory and wetland birds. But unfortunately on the prairies, as I think anybody who's in the south and west of the province at least knows, those wetlands are disappearing at an alarming rate. Familiar species, so ducks, geese, shorebirds, and more, are having a harder time finding habitat to nest, and other wetland plant and animal species are also struggling. The future impact of this loss of habitat is actually pretty hard to overestimate. So in 2020, we applied for some federal funding through Environment and Climate Change Canada, and were successful in attracting $104,000 to restore the wetland. You can see in this picture that tiny little puddle of water in the background, whereas that whole area was the previous wetland. So it was definitely a struggling ecosystem. So our work began during the early spring and summer of 2021. And we spent most of that year conducting the studies so that we were really sure about what was possible and what our steps were. So we did a hydrology study, engineering study, and a biology study. We were ready for our construction phase to begin. So after the first year, year two was the year of action for us. You can see some of the results here. We installed wheelchair accessible walking paths, and you can see some of the educational signage along those walking paths. We planted, oh boy, I'm not sure of the exact final number, but it's more than 800 trees throughout the wetland. In the first year alone, a visiting biologist counted more than 20 species of nesting birds. So we felt, we really were on the right track to restoring this wetland. Here you can see in the upper right-hand corner, that's Environment Minister Dana Skorapad and Ducks Unlimited specialist Suzanne Joyce in the blue shirt at our grand opening. And we were also really pleased to see SARM President Don Rode attend our grand opening too. So that was in July. What were the strengths of our project for the application? When we were working on the application, we wanted to be sure that we told the full story of the project, not just what it was, but what it meant to our community. So we found that the awards website was really, really helpful. It makes those criteria really, really clear. We learned afterwards the things that the adjudicators noted about our application. They included that it was collaborative. So from the original idea through to the final launch, we were constantly in touch with local and provincial experts, organizations, businesses, and for wetland knowledge. So a piece of advice that we could offer is don't be afraid to ask for help. We were so grateful and humbled for the level of help and involvement we got from other organizations and people. When we asked, we found that people were genuinely, they wanted to advise and assist. Everyone from the U of S to Ducks Unlimited to biologists to local builders and excavators. So that part was really great. Another strength was that our project, we think, was quite strategic. So our little village, like many other Saskatchewan communities, is trying hard to reinvent itself. So we have suffered the usual prairie town losses, the school, the railway, businesses. So we wanted to create a venue that could help attract people to our village and at the same time give residents a source of pride. So that was sort of the foundation of our plan. And it's also important that no tax dollars were used for the project. It was all new money brought into the village from a non-tax source. Our project was local, conceived, planned, and delivered by Riverhurst Communities in Bloom volunteers. And although it was federally funded, all aspects of program delivery were done locally. Communication was critical. We were mindful right from the outset of the need to reach out to our community. As such, we planned and delivered a steady stream of information pieces. So newsletters, social media posts, news stories in print, radio, and online media, posters, and we also did pre and post project polling too, to make sure that we heard from residents. Funder and supporter aligned. We feel this is a really important factor too. Our funding was from a source from Environment and Climate Change Canada called the Environmental Damages Fund. And it is a pool of funds that is gathered from polluters and is then redirected to restoration projects. So we thought that that was a really good fit with what we were doing. And also, we learned that winning the Saskatchewan Municipal Award was seen very positively by our major funder, who subsequently shared it as a good example of stewardship across several federal program areas. So that was really rewarding. And what did the award mean for our project? Number one, education. So one strong objective of our project was to help people learn about wetlands, how important they are, and why we need to restore or preserve them. Wetlands contribute to flood and drought mitigation, which is important for sure, carbon capture, biodiversity, water filtration, and the award helped us tell this story to a much broader audience. Profile media outreach done by SAMA and SARM really expanded the reach of our story. In addition, this award elevated our profile, so we were successful in attracting high-profile visitors, spokespeople, policymakers for the launch and for tours, which in turn helps create the case, helps us build the case for more wetlands. Credibility. So I guess the old saying is nothing succeeds like success. So even though we were confident that we were on the right track and that the impact of this award or the impact of our project would be a positive thing, the credibility that was conferred when we did win this award brought more people on side in our community and surrounding area. And it also helped us with volunteers. After winning the award, we actually found that people were more willing to step forward and lend a hand. So that was really, really great. And why should you apply? So if you're considering putting in an application for this award program, number one, we found that apart from the fact that the recognition is very personally satisfying, both our community and our project benefited from the award. It's a highly esteemed award, confers a lot of value and credibility. The website is clear, will help you identify if you're eligible, how, when to apply. So really, the application process was easy. It was not onerous. The form was well designed. And when we had questions, Stephanie and the staff were very, very quick to respond to our questions, very helpful. The awards program is uniquely Saskatchewan. So looking at the many projects awarded this year and in past years, and you can certainly find all of those on the website too, to look at what has won the award in the past. It's striking how a spirit of innovation, volunteerism, collaboration, and can-do just really shines through. People here see a need and they roll up their sleeves. So don't hold back because your project may seem too small, not corporate enough, not $1 million. I'd encourage you to consider applying. And the video, wow, finalists are offered this wonderful opportunity to have a video about our project and our community. So you talk about your project, how much it will benefit your community. It just has been a really great tool for us in use in presentations, in social media, and it's just so professionally done. It's a wonderful, wonderful asset to have. So there we go, Riverhurst Wetland, visit us soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Rayanne. It sounds like all the work that you've done with the wetland has really started to pay off, and that area looks like it is thriving again. That is wonderful.
Yeah, it really, really is great. And just to add a point too, winning this award has helped open some doors. Like we know we've sort of got a phase 2 in the back of our minds. And so we're looking for funding, and we know that winning this award is going to help open some doors for that.
Wonderful. Yeah, I like that point that you made about the credibility there. You knew how valuable the project was, but having an outside source to just add that on top of really helps push other people to see it the same way too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we don't have any questions in the Q&A at this point, but if you do have any questions for Rayanne, please feel free to enter them in there. We will have another opportunity for all of our presenters to answer questions at the end of today's webinar. So with that, I'm now going to invite Charlene to come and talk to us about the Jean-Louis Laguerre Regional Park Expansion Project undertaken by the Town of and RM of Willow Bunch. Please help me welcome Charlene.
Good morning, everybody. I thank you very much for having us here today. I'm just going to give a small overview of the project that the RM of Willow Bunch number 42 took the lead on. A little bit of background information. In light of the federal decision to transition away from coal-generated power, the opportunity to explore our tourism base in the area here became a major focus, and it was done so in order to sustain the community and the region. The transition from coal will have a supreme negative impact to Willow Bunch and the surrounding communities, with an estimated loss of over 300 jobs and 30 million in annual payroll. An independent committee based on a group of diverse volunteers, which included elected representatives from the town of Willow Bunch and the RM of Willow Bunch number 42 councils. They had a vision and a desire to develop adjoining land to the Jean-Louis Laguerre Regional Park, a park that we are very proud of here in Willow Bunch. They had a vision for a creation of a park expansion, a tourism destination, and other economic opportunities to bring to Willow Bunch and the surrounding areas. Our project was a collaborative endeavor developed by an independent committee to start called the Jean-Louis Laguerre Coulee Project Planning Committee. They commissioned the development of an infrastructure and development plan provided by BCL Engineering in Saskatoon. And this provided the basis for our project as a whole. So the town and the RM came in, they recognized that group's efforts as an important initiative to meet the collective needs of our region. So together, both municipalities came together to provide support to the overall park expansion project by addressing the first priority, which would be to provide safe and potable water to the current park, which will allow for expansion of the park and other economic opportunities to tie into that critical infrastructure. So the project would provide continuous, uninterrupted water supply via pipeline traveling from the town of Willow Bunch water treatment plant to the Jean-Louis Laguerre Regional Park. This project will also include a provision for continuous sewage disposal at the town of Willowbunch's community treatment facility via pipelines. So that would be coming from the park to the town. The requirement for potable water was based on an engineering survey completed in that BCL engineering report and discussions with Water Security Agency that indicated that the current facility is of simple construction and requires significant upgrades to accommodate future growth in our park. Additionally, all facets and at all small towns and smaller remote communities have this same problem. Infrastructure is old and it's expensive to upkeep, to replace. So we knew that the facets of our infrastructure were all patched together at the park, leaking, presenting the opportunity for contamination and severe component failures. So the replacement of the distribution systems will meet the goals of the park and meet the goal for future growth expansion and provide dependable service for the next 20 to 40 years. It's important to note that the RM had applied for federal funding through Western Economic Diversification Canada. That was the former name. It is now Prairies Economic Development Canada. And they were successful in attaining $950,000 towards that project. And it was very important due to the fact that aging and failing infrastructure poses a considerable threat to a community and its organizations, not only from a health and safety standpoint, but also a financial and economic standpoint. The loss of 300 jobs and millions of dollars in payroll and subsequently tax-based revenue results in the inability to plan for the future and substantiate additional infrastructure expense. So resources involved to date are in kind by both councils. So it is not costing the taxpayers dollars to put this project in. Again, we're very fortunate for the funding that we have received through Prairies Economic Development Canada. So our project, again, was a collaborative endeavor consisting of the rural municipality, the town council of Willowbunch, the Jean-Louis Cooley Project Plan Committee, and essentially the Jean-Louis Laguerre Regional Park. Once complete, this project, so we're still in the very beginning stages in terms of getting this pipeline put into the ground. But once complete, this project will result in expansion of the park, potential for additional features. So this is just the beginning. So potential for additional features such as development of perhaps cabins. We talked about interpretive centers, creation of a historical village, safe walking trails to and from the park, which would also contribute to job creation, generate economic opportunities for the park, the tourism industry in and around Willowbunch and the community of Willowbunch. As I said before, this project is ongoing. Formal evaluation will follow at completion, and a review of the expectations and outcomes will also follow. As this project is ongoing, it is a continual learning process, understanding the fundamentals of design process, tendering. It was a learning process, but it was something that we all seem to embrace and we're very happy with. Being selected as a finalist and for this award had a huge impact on the community's goals and visualization of the project. They can now see the bigger picture. It has generated excitement among the community. It has brought on, as Rayanne had said in her presentation, more volunteers, because all small towns have the same issue. It's sometimes the same volunteer base all around, but bigger projects highlighted such as this through the Municipal Awards Association, this really did help us bring on some extra people. So we're very, very excited and happy about this award. I don't have a whole lot else to say. If there's any questions at all, I'd love to answer them, and you can get a hold of me at any time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Charlene. I really like what you highlighted there about how this doesn't have to be a completed project that you're submitting a nomination for an award. You can be in the beginning phases, and like both you and Rayanne said, it will help draw more people to that project and hopefully give you a bigger volunteer base as well. So thank you for bringing that forward. We do not have any questions in the Q&A box at this time, but I will again remind participants that there will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentations as well. So we do have one more presentation from one of our 2021 winners. Our next presentation will be from Sean Wallace, who's representing the South Saskatchewan Ready Group. They were the winners of the 2021 Regional Collaboration Award. So welcome, Sean.
Great, thank you so much. And just tip of the hat to Charlene and Ray, great presentations. So the Regional Collaboration Award, South Sask Ready was brought together in the context of coal transition. So we do have very serious issues here in and around the Cornac Poplar River coal mine and the plant, scheduled to shut down in 2030. So that leaves us 7 years to basically mitigate those negative economic effects that we're going to face. So in our partnership, we have 9 communities. For anyone counting, that's 9 mayors and reeves, 54 councillors, several organizations, and what we've noticed that obviously there's competing interests between different communities. So it was I really have to tip the hat to our board on keeping focused on what our goal is. We did receive $2 million from the province, where we designed a program that would mitigate the negative economic effects of coal transition. And that involved having a return on investment for any of the money that we gave out to entities within the region. So, and the reason why we went for a return on investment is because to the effects, of course, of coal transition will be loss of population, and then loss of the property tax base. And those two things are mitigated by obviously having population and workers, because again, Charlene alluded to this, and Ray alluded to this as well. So with the declining population comes, loss of important services like healthcare, education, businesses, other government services. So it's very serious in the sense that we face a very real prospect of people being bused to an hour away to go to school or to get your groceries and things like that. So that's one of the things that we did to try to mitigate the negative economic effects, is to actually have a return on investment in all the things that we do. Again, very proud of the group. Everyone for the most part works very well together, and we've got a common goal. So in receiving this award, it's been a really major occurrence for us. So being recognized provincially for collaboration and the successes that we've had so far has actually turned into another provincial award through Saskatchewan Economic Development Alliance, which again precipitated a national award for our feasibility study, and then an international award that was announced 2 weeks ago in Vienna. So I attribute the impetus to us being recognized internationally at the start from getting this Regional Collaboration Award. So it's been very, very, very important for us. So on that, I'd like to show the video that was done for us, and it really explains kind of the situation that we're in, the importance of recognition of this award in terms of collaboration with other levels of government, more funding needed in the area, and getting some traction on how we get a return on investment from everything that we do here. So without further ado, I'm just going to share the screen here. Okay, and I'll just hit play here.
In probably about 2018, the talks began to be more real as far as the closure of the Sask Power Poplar River Power Station and the Westmoreland mine.
When I joined the town of Cornac in 2016, I learned a lot very quickly about the changes to the federal regulations on coal and coal emissions.
Those two industries were the biggest employers of our region.
We realized that there was a very short timeline for us on when the power station and the Westmoreland mine would close. We were given a date of 2030.
Obviously, it was a bit of a shock once we got the news that this plant would be closing down. earlier than what we were expecting.
About 300 jobs will be lost.
Not only that, you will likely lose some of the business people that are in the area as well.
And so that motivated the council to reach out to the other communities in the region that were also listed in that impact study and start to talk about what do we need to do next.
The biggest thing that study did is it gave us 4 areas to focus on: agriculture or agri-value, green energy, manufacturing, and tourism. My hope is we can develop a long-term economic partnership with these communities.
This means that the next generation of people that live here, the kids that are going to school now, will have job opportunities to stay here.
This is an area that has always looked after each other, and I think we will do that going forward.
So as you can see, that was just an absolutely fantastic production. This video, we use it quite often. As you can see, it's quite an emotional experience here in this region, and this award meant so much, and recognizing kind of the emotion around what's happening here in terms of coal transition. And again, the regional award was a real impetus for us to really get the attention that we need from other levels of government, from surrounding communities, just to sort of backtrack and let you know of some of the dire economic effects we're facing. So, for instance, the town of Cornack, which is the kind of the economic hub in the area and the most affected community. So they're looking at an 89% drop in household income, a 67% drop in population, and again, loss of businesses, loss of people, loss of the tax base. So if you don't have a tax base, you're not going to be able to pay for those important community projects and programs and infrastructure. So again, this award really brought some great attention to what we're trying to accomplish here. And again, the impetus for recognition nationally and internationally, which is really important for business and investment attraction. So that's kind of all I have on that. I just want to say the folks at SUMA have been fantastic. They'll work with you the whole way through. And I think one of the most important things to do in terms of regional collaboration, I guess the point is trying to solve a problem and coming up with solutions that work. So I think that's, something really important to reflect in any application you put in. But that's all I have.
Thank you so much for that, Sean. I didn't realize that you'd gone on to receive national and international awards as well. So congratulations. That's incredible. And I look forward to seeing where this project continues to go over the next few years.
Right. Not bad from a bunch of country folks, eh?
No, not too shabby. So we still do not have any questions in our Q&A box, but if anyone has any questions for any of our presenters, please feel free to add them in there. We will still have some time to answer those. So now's your chance. I want to thank everybody very much for joining us to talk about their projects. There were some really great examples about the different types of projects that can be nominated and what can happen after if you win an award and what happens after the nomination process. The project videos for each of the award winners that you heard from today are available on the Saskatchewan Municipal Award website. And we're going to drop a link for that in the chat as well. They are listed under winning projects, and we've also shared a link to that page in the chat. The nomination form can also be found on the SMA website under nominations. There's going to be a link in the chat for that as well. So nominations are open until November 25th at 4:00 p.m. We are encouraging anyone submitting a nomination to include as much detail as possible, as it helps our selection committee determine the winners, and it serves as a guide for other municipalities. As we mentioned before, the winning projects get listed under the best practices, and any other nominations are listed under the municipal capacity development page. And then those nominations and winning projects can be used as templates for other municipalities looking to undertake similar projects. So that does bring me to the end of the presentation today. We do have time remaining to answer any questions in the Q&A box, whether it's about the Sask Municipal Awards program itself, or whether it's for any of our award winners about their particular project. or anything like that. So please feel free to enter those in there. And if not, we will start wrapping up our presentation for today. Okay, seeing nothing, I will say thank you to everybody in our audience for joining us today. We will be providing a recording of this session to all registrants, and all webinars recordings are also permanently available on the SUMA member portal. Please remember to keep an eye out on the municipal update and member emails for future webinar opportunities. Our next webinar will be on Tuesday, November 8th at 10:00 a.m. on the Transportation Rescue Extraction Program, or TREX. Our next episode of Municast with Kaylee Stewart from LifeWorks will be released on Wednesday, November 9th. And on Tuesday, November 15th, it is the deadline to apply for the TSS, or Targeted Sector Support Initiative funding. Targeted sector support is a portion of municipal revenue sharing, 1.5 million per fiscal year, that is used to encourage intercommunity collaboration and help build capacity and promote good governance in all Saskatchewan municipalities. The funds are used to support projects that help municipalities strengthen their core governance and administration responsibilities and advance the priorities set by the steering committee. A link with more information about that program is being added to the chat. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. A short survey should be appearing on your screen that you can fill out to let us know how we're doing with our webinar program. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.